When we finish.
Yes. Today's topic is market research. We have 20 minutes to go. So today's topic in business AS level is market research. We're talking about market research. Here I read, market research involves gathering, presenting, and analyzing information about the marketing and consumption of goods and services. So we call it a market research. As a business, your objective is to maximize profit. And to maximize profit, you need to sell. To sell, people need to be aware of your product. Do you understand? So the awareness you have to give to your product might come through market research. So with market research, you will be able to understand the kind of customers you want to sell to, what their needs are, what their wants are, and you'll be able to produce goods that suit their needs. So that's why they say market research involves gathering. Gathering means putting together information, presenting. Now that you have this information, let the group know that this is information available to you. And as soon as that is done, then you analyze this information. So what are the do's? What are the positive impacts about this information? What are the negative impacts about this information? How are this information going to be useful to win or to convince customers so that they don't buy from competitors? That is what marketing research is. So businesses spend money on market research because it helps to reduce the risk of failure. Products that are well researched are more likely to be successful. Market research data can be used for the following specific purpose. So before we go to the purpose of market research, when the business does market research, it is for a business not to fail. So the tendency of failure reduces. So there's high tendency of success if you have done a research before you make the product available. Because making research means you understand the needs. You are able to anticipate the needs of customers. You understand what your customer needs. So if you have understood what customer needs and you are able to provide or produce goods that suits or that goes in line with their needs, definitely they will buy. It's just like telling you, understanding what you want and me providing what you want. Definitely you're going to buy. So businesses, if they do research, it allows them, it reduces the risk of business failure. That is the point they're making here. So the purpose is all about being able to sell your product. And for you to sell your product, it means you are producing goods that customers want to buy. So what are the purpose of market research? Number one, identify and anticipate customer needs and wants. Businesses will benefit if they can clarify the specific needs and wants of consumers. In order to design products that are likely to sell, they need to identify as precisely as possible the product feature that people desire. For example, a car manufacturer will need to find out which product features are important to potential customers. So you need to identify and anticipate the needs and wants of customers. How are you going to be able to do this? You need to clarify. You need clarity to know that, customers, this is what they want. So the main example of a car manufacturing company. For a car manufacturing company, it will be able to sell its cars if it produces goods or produces cars that are in line with customers' specification. That is the point they are making. So you identify what are the needs of these customers. You are able to provide it with clarity. Then you should be assured that you will sell. So that means when you talk about anticipating and identifying their needs, that means you think about their design, you think about the color they want, you think about the economical aspect. Can they afford it? All these things are part of what you need to understand, what you have to identify. Because if you are unable to identify it, then you might not be selling. Customers want products that when they have, it doesn't cost them a lot to maintain. Customer wants products that are affordable. Customer wants products that are quality. So you need to understand all these things. They need also the performance of the product. So if you are able to identify all these things, then you should be rest assured as a business that your product will be sold in the market. That is identifying and anticipating customer needs. Then the next one is quantifying likely demand. How many do you think customers will buy? You can also identify, you can also identify this, we have 100 customers. Part of these 100 customers, we have 100 potential customers. Out of these 100 potential customers, I think 60 should be able to buy. You should be able to quantify the number. At least you should be able to predict the quantity that you're going to be able to sell. I'm going to read anyway. It is important to find out how much of a product a business might expect to sell in the market. So you have to do your sales forecast. Sales forecast is the predicted volume of what you are going to sell. It is important to do that. Market research will help you to at least have a view of what you will sell as a business. Oh, as a school, we are expecting 300 students this year. You can get this through market research. Do you get the point there? Do you get the point or not?
Yes, yes.
That is about quantifying likely demand. So he said, one reason for this is to help determine whether or not a particular product is going to be commercially viable. If market research finds that the demand is inadequate, a business might cancel the launch of a product. So, why are you quantifying the likely demand? You're quantifying the likely demand to know if you have to launch the product or not. So, if your prediction is about 100 and you want to produce like 700 quantities, you would know that they're not going to sell. So, if after quantifying, you find out that your sales prediction, your sales forecast is nothing to write home about, you might stop the production. Do you get quantifying there? So you need, the purpose of quantifying is to be able to have an adequate how do I put it? To be able to understand if the demand is adequate or not. That is the purpose of quantifying the likely demand. Is it clear or not, please? The third one, gain an insight into customer behavior. So market research is aimed at analyzing consumer behavior. Businesses might be more successful if they can identify and understand patterns of consumer behavior. For example, a holiday company selling package organized by travel agents. Holiday Abroad might use market research to find out, one, when customers book their holidays, when consumers are most likely to go on holiday, the number of holiday people take each year, which method consumers use to book their holidays, how much money people spend on holiday, whether customers take out holiday insurance or not, how people travel to the airport. So getting an insight into how people behave will help a business to meet customer needs more effectively. So the third point here is gaining an insight. You gain an insight. You understand the pattern of spending of customers, how they spend, how their behavior of spending, what do they spend on. So for you to produce goods, you have to produce goods that customers spend on. Do you understand? When you produce goods that they do not want to spend on, then you are not likely to sell. They make an example of holiday here. So if you are a service business, like a tourist business, you want your clients to go on holiday, you need to understand what time do they go on holiday, how much do they spend on holiday, how do they get their tickets, what kind of reservation do they do, how do they move, what kind of flights are they, do they have interest on, what kind of airline do they want to go with. These are things that you need to understand. So you need to gain insight. You need to know more about your consumers, your customers or potential customers' spending pattern, what they spend on, what they don't like to spend on. What period of time do they spend on? Oh, they don't spend during May, June, July. They spend during October, November, December. These things are gaining insight. And this allows you to be able to sell. That's the third purpose of market research. The first one I said earlier was to identify or anticipate customer needs. The second one is to quantify the likely demand. Now the third one here is to gain an insight, to understand more, to have details about how customers spend. That's the third one. Then, that is all about market research. Any question about market research? So we'll go to different types of market research after this class. Do you have any question about it?
No.
Okay.
Really?